Fauci's got a universal pardon. He was pardoned for a period of 11 years, I think. So if they actually want to go after Fauci beyond this, if they actually want to charge or imprison him, Trump already did declare the pardons void, but the DOJ is going to have to file a suit. It's going to go to the Supreme Court. Then what?
Yeah.
This is a wild one. Kash Patel went on Joe Rogan's podcast and casually dropped one of the biggest bombshells since the pandemic began. The FBI has seized Fauci's phones and hard drives. Let that sink in. For years, those devices were missing. Now they've got them. Emails, memos, lockdown orders, Wuhan connections, all of it. And Tim Pool is sounding the alarm.
Here's the story, ladies and gentlemen. The Daily Mail's got it. Kash Patel, FBI director, announces COVID breakthrough after seizing Anthony Fauci's phones and hard drives. This is actually pretty crazy. The Trump administration has recovered a cell phone and hard drives used by Fauci during the COVID pandemic. Speaking Thursday on the Joe Rogan Experience, FBI Director Kash Patel described the discovery as a great breakthrough in the government's ongoing investigation into the origins of the pandemic and the federal response. Patel said investigators had long struggled to locate the devices Fauci used while serving as chief medical advisor to the White House, records that could shed light on key decisions surrounding lockdowns, mask mandates, and ties between Fauci's former agency and the Wuhan laboratory central to the lab leak theory. He did say, for all we know, he's deleted everything. We don't know. He says we found it. And at least we can tell the American people we've been looking because it is of public importance to figure out, did that guy lie? Did he intentionally mislead the world and cause countless deaths? We owe those answers to the American people. And the best evidence ever is always the people's evidence who created it. So now we're going to go and exploit those hard drives. He says, we did find it. We're not done. We're still looking and we're on the case. And that being said, Fauci's got a universal pardon. He was pardoned for a period of 11 years, I think. So if they actually want to go after Fauci beyond this, if they actually want to charge or imprison him, Trump already did declare the pardons void, but the DOJ is going to have to file a suit. It's going to go to the Supreme Court. Then what?
Yeah. It's where the auto pen question is actually really important, because if I assume the administration's argument is going to be, well, it was the auto pen. He did all these pardons aren't actually real. It wasn't even him doing it. He couldn't know, etc. So that will be like the whole thing will hinge on whether or not that actually, is found to be legal by SCOTUS.
I think the question that's always stood out to me as most important is if they're our biggest adversary, China, and for whatever reason, Dr. Fauci, USAID, and everyone was creating bioweapons in a lab in China with our biggest adversary, and it leaked. These seem to be bigger crimes than just the pardon and all of that. I don't understand why that's not treason, or they're not our biggest adversary. So why are they working on bioweapons in China in this lab that had a lot of problems already? So to me, the questions about Fauci are less about, did he lie about the lab leak, and more about why was America working with the Chinese Communist Party to create bioweapons to begin with? That should matter to Americans more than anything else.
This woman, she nailed it. That's the question every single American should be asking right now. Why was Fauci allowed to partner with the Chinese Communist Party? We're talking about a regime that ships fentanyl by the ton and kills hundreds of thousands of Americans, openly declares it wants to bring down the United States, sends spy balloons over our homeland, and, was so reckless it helped release a global pandemic. And Fauci worked with them, funded their labs. What the hell is going on? Forget the spin, forget the pardons, forget the it was legal nonsense. Millions of lives were destroyed, careers gone, families ruined, people died alone. And now we're just supposed to pretend this never happened? Hell no. Every single person involved from Fauci on down needs to be exposed, investigated, and held accountable. No immunity, no excuses, justice.
While it was banned.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it always that they say we create the new bioweapons so that we can create cures for them, which is
that's the argument.
Yeah, that's the argument.
It's like the nuclear weapon.
Every time you've heard that, you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
We make nuclear weapons so that we can create the repairs for the devastation that nuclear weapons cause.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get a pardon for treason.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't think you can.
I don't
especially
either.
not by auto pen from a guy that's got dementia.
Well, Well, also, there's a lot about Fauci from before 11 years ago, just like there is about Hunter. Just like this strange thing is that the pardons are just in this period of time, not necessarily when he was involved in AIDS or when he was involved in the testing with the kids. So, I mean, at the bigger picture is treason or crimes against humanity.
One of the things that Kash Patel was talking about with Joe today was the statute of limitations.
Right.
A lot of the stuff that is, they're finding now is outside of the statute of limitations, which means on top of the pardons, the government doesn't even have the authority to prosecute anymore.
Isn't that convenient?
Isn't it?
Isn't it all just one big scam? The whole thing is.
Wait, I got an idea. What if they upgrade the charge in some way that extends the statute of limitations? Like if he committed misdemeanors, let's just say they're felonies so we can criminally charge him.
25,
like they did in
25
New York to Trump.
Yeah, right.
Good idea.
Yeah, but crimes against humanity, treason, sedition, I don't know about RICO, conspiracy. There's got to be ways. That's how the law is written now, so that it can be manipulated to get anyone. I mean, there's 4,500 felonies on record that you can pick from to create.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we're in the era of show me the man. I'll show you the crime.
Exactly.
So they can get
doesn't
Fauci
make
for
that much
jaywalking.
sense.
No, it's just so irretrievably broken. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what? Roseanne might actually be right. This system might be too far gone to fix. The corruption isn't random. It's systemic. It's baked in, engineered, reinforced by the very people who are supposed to protect us. And here's the ugly truth. There are people in power right now who don't give a damn about doing the right thing. Not for their country, not for their people. All they care about is money, control, and self-preservation. And they're not stupid. They're calculated. They played a long game. And unfortunately, they hold the cards. So what happens until then? Nothing. Unless we, the people, stand up and demand real change. Unless we say, you don't get to rob us, lie to us, destroy lives, and just walk away clean. Because if we don't, they'll just keep doing it over and over and laughing while they do.
Yeah, we were mentioning this a little bit when the show was starting. I think everything's broken. Milo, are you guys familiar with Milo Yiannopoulos?
Sure.
He's been on a heater this week. He said that the views on the economy and government spending are no different than horoscopes at this point. Right. And he has no problem with people talking about it, but he doesn't concern himself with such things. He's right. Yeah. Everybody's saying oh, Trump's bill is going to do this, that, the deficit will do that. Nobody knows what that actually means or how it's going to manifest.
It's also a lot of just faith in him more than actual faith in believing that the process is going to work, because we've seen this happen for administration after administration. And even before Trump got back into office, I was like, look, the system is broken in a way that took over 200 years to break. There's no way you can fix it in one term. And I don't honestly believe within the scope of the government now that there is a way to fix it in any real way that would change things for the American people on the ground.
Agreed.
I mean, honestly, I really think at this point I've been doing a lot of work following the money, and I believe that everything basically that we've been told after World War II has been a total lie and a con job. I think everything we've paid trillions of dollars of our taxpayer money overseas to have wars that end up, the money is made in the wars in the reconstruction. If you look back to what happened right after World War II, all these things were put in, the IMF, the World Bank, the fraud that is the German Marshall Fund. The American people have been so looted and so lied to and so deceived and have allowed it to go on with no one ever being held accountable. I really believe at this time left, right, Republican, Democrat is a total farce. And the only way that this country saves itself is to have the people save themselves locally, like things that you've done in West Virginia. People aren't that concerned, but frankly, I really believe that this is a global war, and America just needs to be destroyed to go forward, because I don't think we even are very clear on who the enemy is, who's running this show, and frankly, at this point, you have to follow the money all the way to the top. Those USAID, all of that stuff they found, they should have called in Samantha Power day one, as soon as they started seeing that and asking, what was this money sent here for? Especially places that was color revolutions and all this. I just think the American people have been so lied to as a whole, and our birthright, our country, has been stolen out from under us. And unless the people actually start to realize that we're all on the same side and we can only save ourselves, it's just going to continue to be a uniparty.
There's the question of what does that mean by the people when half the country is voting against what you describe?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the people have to be, honestly, for me, I think from the Federal Reserve forward, this hasn't been America. I'm not even totally sure that we won the revolution. I really think that they went back to England and they infiltrated us through the banks and the railroads, and it continued. And then after World War II,
the courts,
right? And
well, the conspiracy theory is that we never actually won the revolution,
right?
And again, for the sake of the people who are going to pull this quote out of context, I'm going to say it again. There are people who believe after the revolution, the king simply said, wait. They're trying to do what? Well, they want to have a system where anyone can just be in charge. And they're like, then why are we sending troops to go there? Just say they won, we surrender. Okay, now they have their system in place. Let's send all of our money and just buy their government.
Yeah. And build all the railroads. And then there was all these land leases connected to the railroads. I mean, there's plenty of levels of this, but certainly people need to start looking at the international banking system. I really believe that the top of the head of the snake of all these wars and all the looting and COVID. Don't forget, Klaus Schwab books out COVID, the Great Reset, like within weeks of our lockdowns. And then they have this whole build back better from everywhere in the world. I just think that the international financial system that was built after World War II to loot our country is broken, and they need another, I believe, another world war to recalibrate financially, just like after World War I.
You're saying they want a world war to...
Yes.
This is it's called the liberal economic order. Are you familiar with it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, or some people call it the Fourth Reich, whatever the case may be.
They literally call themselves the liberal economic order. It's in the CFR website. I'm gonna pull this up.
And they're one of the chief architects of this.
The other thing I see with this, kind of like you're mentioning with the people involved and the fact that there's a lot of apathy around the citizens, is that for the most part, like it feels like with cash going towards these type of prosecutions or looking into Fauci, that a lot of people have just been willing to forget. Like they're just kind of, oh, the COVID happened, it's done with, they've forgotten all of the things that happened, all of the awful ways in which people behaved. And when I see these discussions online, I do see a lot of anger, but that's because we're in a space where it's people in politics who are talking about it, who remember names, dates, things that were said. But for the most part, the average everyday citizen, they've moved on with their lives and they aren't ready to acknowledge the amount of evil that was done in that time period. So them even going forward with this now is actually kind of impressive, because it doesn't feel like there isn't even really a mandate to do it, because nobody's really talking about it.
Wow. The liberal economic order. Or is it just Operation Forthright? Call it whatever you want, but this is some next level stuff. And honestly, I believe it. Because when you really step back and look at the system, it's not that complicated. It's controlled, it's rigged, it's a well-oiled machine, and we're not the ones driving it. Think about it. Who does our government have to borrow money from and then pay back with interest? Who's really calling the shots? Because that doesn't sound like freedom. That sounds like a mafia, a global one. And they don't need guns. They've got banks, leverage, and policies. But hey, don't take my word for it. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Smash that like button if you're feeling the anomaly take. And don't forget to subscribe. We're just getting started.